Hello, welcome back to the special Quangnam today in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, from the ruined station, as the consequence of war, Misan Temples and Towers complex has gradually been restored and become a famous tourist destination. This is thanks to the efforts of foreign experts from Poland, Italy, and recently India together with a team of experts, officials and technical workers of Vietnam for nearly 4 decades. In this episode, let's take a look back on the 40-year journey of restoration and review some outstanding achievements in this area. In the heart of Misan Valley is the unique temples and towers complex that was built from the 4th to the 13th century. This is the Holy Land of the Cham dynasty, which was influenced by Hinduism. The centralization of natural resources, along with a team of talented artisans from Champa Kingdom, had created Misan a glamorous art museum and a symbol of the brilliant Cham architecture. However, the silent destruction of time, and especially the two wars, severely devastated this architectural complex. But apart from those moves, no one knows what to do next with those ruined bricks. In 1980, the cooperation program of restoring Cham monuments in the central region with a focus on Misan was signed by the Polish and Vietnamese governments. Accordingly, the Union of Polish Relic Renovating Enterprises was sent a team of experts to coordinate with the National Center for Relic Maintenance and Restoration of Vietnam to find ways of saving Cham monuments. The leader of this Polish expert team was architect Kazimierz Kwiatkowski, often called by the friendly name Kazek, and perhaps that day he did not think he would stay in Vietnam, the remote country, for the rest of his life as a mission. From 1980 to 1986, the Polish-Vietnamese mission made many efforts in surveying, measuring and drawing, restoring many Cham towers along the central strip of Vietnam. But the best achievements of the cooperation between Vietnam and Poland was the fundamental revival of Misan Temple area. By rudimentary tools and devices, together with human-based methods, Polish experts cleared the groups of towers A, B, C, and D from the burial of rocks, bricks, and reconstructed decorative parts and original materials after having sufficient scientific evidence.
Cái ưu tiên số 1 ở thời điểm đó là cứu vãn.
That work was done in a very difficult time. The number one priority at that time was to save Misan area that had been ruined during the war, uncovering it from thousands of cubic meters of rock and soil caused by bombs. That was the first emergency rescue and reinforcement.
Do bom đạn tạo nên.
In international science circle, the Polish Archaeological Restoration School is highly regarded with the view of trying to keep the maximum authenticity of the monument. It was followed strictly by architect Kazek and his colleagues during the restoration time of Misan. For towers that were cracked by subsidence or previous bombardment, Polish experts used the method of drilling cracked tower walls, placing steel cores, and pumping epoxy fixative. Thanks to this reinforcement method, many damaged Cham towers have survived today. After 1986, the Polish-Vietnamese cooperation program ended, but architect Kazek, with his personal relationships, still found fundings to continue restoring Misan. Thus, until 1994, from the fundings of the Polish state and philanthropists mobilized by Kazek, there were 14 Cham towers in Misan that were returned to their original appearance, or at least saved from the risk of collapse. But the Polish Archaeological Restoration School also faced the objection and harsh criticism of some people who had the power or position of science, because they considered this method freaky, decorating original materials, then seriously violating Cham architecture. However, until now, Kazak's method still proves to be reasonable.
Đối với các cái nhà khoa học nói
The method that Kazakh and Vietnamese restorationists did in the 80s of the last century has yet to reach consensus in the scientific and public circles in Vietnam. However, the effectiveness of this meditation method in the past decades has been recognized and agreed by scientists and representatives of UNESCO when coming here. Since the separation of the province, the restoration of Misan Towers complex continued with the participation of many countries that Italy was the pioneer. Implementing the project, surveying, zoning, and managing Misan architectural and archaeological sites, Italian experts surveyed and assessed the impact of various factors such as local geophysical, topological, hydrological conditions to the conservation status of the monument, especially the researches of building bricks, adhesives, and original construction techniques. Based on these research results, the Italian government, together with the sponsorship of UNESCO, continued funding the project, protecting Misan World Heritage, presentation and training on international standards application for restoration at Group G, Misan Relic Area. After more than 10 years of implementation, Italian experts and staff of the Institute of Monument Conservation have partially restored the relic, made trial production of the restoring bricks, and tried some methods of using vegetable glue. These solutions have contributed to revitalizing the original appearance of some temples, especially the G1.
Many years ago, in 1986, Misan was still in a very bad condition. And we had not electricity, we had not road at the time. But we lived a beautiful period, all together with the manager and with the staff of Misan. And we were a sort of family, where everybody of us, we try to do our best for saving the site.
Following the success of foreign cooperation in February 2017, the preservation project of 3 tower groups KHNA in the framework of the Vietnam-India Cooperation Project on the preservation and restoration of Misan World Cultural Heritage Site carried out by experts from the Indian Archaeological Agency ASI also started in 2018. A series of international cooperation programs and activities in the restoration of Misan's relic sites have been implemented. Typical activities are the survey team of Indian and Russian experts, the MOU signing between the Misan Cultural Heritage Management Board and the Indian Center for International Cultural Research on the transformation and translation of Cham epitaphs, and the cooperation maintaining with UNESCO through UNESCO Hanoi office. Thus, after nearly 40 years, there has been cooperation from many countries to work with Vietnam on the restoration of the unique Cham Tower complex in Misan, and the restoration method for tower groups has also gradually fixed. In particular, scientists have agreed on an idea that we don't restore at all costs. We should leave some parts for the next generation to continue to work when there are more adequate knowledge, resources, and technologies. We should put the first priority on a scientific and practical preservation of the tangible cultural heritage of Cham people. We should maintain what remains and what has been restored with long-term viability. We should not think of recovering what was already lost. What we should keep is the existing historical witnesses. It is hard to imagine what Misan would be today if nearly 4 decades ago there was no international support for the restoration of the ancient towers, because our country experts still admitted that this was a very new field and we don't have much experience. It is the serious, scientific, and non-profit work of many experts from Poland and other countries that helped partially revitalize Misan, and through that Vietnamese scientific and technical workers were also trained and got mature. The merits of such contributions are really respectable. It's time to close the program here. Please stay tuned with us on the website qrt.vn. Thank you and see you next time.